Thanks to the support as a channel member, Tyler Huffman. £266 million. I'm pretty sure it's the biggest transfer budget I've ever had at the start of a summer transfer window. We have a bit of a rebuild job here to do at Dortmund, as we discovered yesterday. But surely that's more than enough money to get the job done. Hello and welcome to Club 2, Part 2 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, it is our transfer special ahead of our first season in charge at new club Borussia Dortmund. I did a little bit of a review of where the club are now in yesterday's episode, so if you missed that, you might want to go back and check that one out first if you haven't already watched it, because we're not going to go into too much detail on that because we covered it off yesterday. And of course, we are fresh off the back of Champions League win, which for some reason isn't appearing on my CV. Must be a bug with the game. But the key headline is £266 million to spend. Possibly even more exciting, £133 million for next season already allocated as well. We've got a £500 million balance. It's like the reverse of the situation we had at Real Madrid in more ways than just financial as well. There's no debt here. There's oodles of money in the bank, but we don't really have the team. So we know what we need to go out and get. We certainly need to go out and get a goalkeeper. Thomas Silva is going to be very near the top of my list, although he might be a little bit too expensive to drag away from, not Bayern Munich, from Real Madrid. We also need a right back to get to the same kind of level as some of these other players that we've got. Some backup defenders, lots of young players. That's basically the gist of what we're after. The board are looking specifically for me to sign players aged 21 and under. And they also want me to focus in on German players. I think that's going to be harder to do than that. But we're certainly not going to be signing any old men, because if we're ignoring the signed German players, and we're not going to ignore it, we'll favour German players. I don't know what percentage of our signings would have to be German. It says ensure a good percentage. In reality, I want to have a chat with the board and say, look, what's a good percentage? I think for a club like Dortmund, if 40% of our signings are German, I think that's a good percentage, but I suspect the board might have other ideas. I'm just not sure what the percentage they're looking for is. But we're going to balance that out by not signing anyone over the age of 30, regardless of circumstance, even if Erling Haaland becomes available. Erling Haaland available? Not until next. Even if Erling Haaland becomes available, we're not going to sign anyone over 30 years old. We are going to focus in on players under the age of 21 and really try and focus in on the German players as well. So my job initially, it's the 30th of May. We don't need to do a season review like we normally would in these videos because this wasn't our season. So I think my job now is to get my scouts out and about doing their thing, because obviously we're coming in without much in the way of a shortlist other than players that we were vaguely aware of at Real Madrid. But one thing, I think I mentioned it in the videos that I definitely mentioned in the videos that at Real Madrid, I wasn't able to do any contract renewals or any transfer listing, anything like that, once I handed in my notice. The other thing I wasn't able to do once I handed in my notice, I wasn't able to do any scouting. It wouldn't let me send scouts out to players. So any scout reports that we might have, or any players we might have in mind from Real Madrid, are now 6 months out of date. And the shortlist doesn't carry over to the new club anyway. So we are starting from, I mean, that is our list of scouted players. That can't be right. It's not right. That's our list of scouted players. But players who actually meet the criteria, if we're looking for players who are 21 or under and German, and then we sort them by ability, there's a couple. These are definitely getting scouted. But bottom line, we need to go and do some scouting before we can do anything. So I'm going to go do some scouting, probably be away probably for most of June doing scouting. And then as players start to come in, I will obviously introduce you to them. Well, we're a third of the way through June. That's a weird way of describing a part of a month. All we've really done so far is work on backroom staff. You can see we are building a nice little coaching team and have the best coaching setup in the Bundesliga. We're still looking to bring in scouts, but we already have the best scouting setup as well. Medical centre, off the pitch, everything is looking nice. Transfer-wise, we've, I mean, you can see the amount of scouts we've made offers to, so there's plenty more staff still on their way in. Transfer-wise, the only thing we've done so far is sold a player who, I guess the transfer hasn't gone through. He's being sold. It's transfer arranged for 1st of July. So Francined Rosero, 29-year-old right back with 2.5-star current ability, who was out of contract at the end of next season. We got £22 million for him. So to me, that smells like good business. What also has something of the stench of good business about, but this could be my downfall here at Dortmund, Maury Koulibaly. We don't need him. If you look at the makeup of our squad, our biggest strength area really is attacking midfield. Stefan Drury, at 23 years old, we did a comparison between the two of them in yesterday's episode. Drury is better than Koulibaly, but Drury can play central midfield. He could say, Koulibaly, we know Koulibaly's a great box-to-box midfielder. We know Koulibaly can play as a striker. And if Real Madrid are open to selling him, surely we should be buying him. Shouldn't we? We can't let him go to Manchester City. That would be bonkers. Manchester City are going to be one of our big rivals for winning the Champions League. We can't let one of the best players in the world go there. We've got the money, I think, to just do an offer of our own. If they've had an offer of 98 million, we should be, obviously we're going to do a little bit on the never, never, the way we do. But even if we pay, do it like that, give them half up front, half over 3 years. That's okay. We'll make this 38. We don't really want to pay more than City are going to pay, but I imagine City are paying the bulk of theirs up front. And we take this down to there. That then puts it back to 98. They're probably not going to like that. Although, 38 up front, 40 on installments. I don't mind that as a deal. Yes, 40% percentage of profit from the next sale is a lot, but we're probably not going to sell him. The idea is keep him out of the hands of the best clubs in Europe. Oh, hold on. Who's this guy? Frederick Egger. Might be a goalkeeper we should be looking at. He's at Bayern Munich, 23 years old. Nantes are in for him. We don't really want Bayern's backup goalkeeper. I think we can do better than that. He's obviously someone who's already appeared on a scout report. He's obviously better than what we've got, because what we've got is bobbins. But for now, we'll ignore that. I'm a little bit wary when it comes to press stuff, because one of the things I promised at my interview, where do promises live? Improve media handling. So over the course of this first year, I probably need to be doing some press conferences and media things, which is horrible and boring, but I'm going to have to do it anyway. Was among the goals for how pleasing to see one of the players. I don't know who this guy is. He's a striker, backup striker, I guess, probably going to be leaving. Yeah, I'm delighted. Yeah, he deserves it. We'll just do the odd little media thing like that and hope that's enough. I don't want to have to get into full pre-match press conferences or anything like that. What? I forgot we're not in the Champions League. So Koulibaly, despite my excellent relationship with him, doesn't want to come here because we are not going to be in the Champions League. And that is something I hadn't considered. That could make this summer more complicated than I originally imagined. Well, it's a sad day because Maury Koulibaly has signed for Manchester City. That's very sad. I'm fascinated that he's played 60 times for France and never scored. That, to me, seems absolutely baffling when we know what a solid goal scorer he is, but apparently not. I wonder what position they play him in internationally. He has very much strengthened that Manchester City attack that has been a little bit weak for the last few years. They have a proper elite level forward now, if they use him there. Or he could be a Bellingham replacement for them in midfield. Who knows? Either way, not ideal. We've got our first signing coming in, though. Apparently players don't arrive until the 1st of July in Germany. I should probably remember that from when I was at Schalke. But then I guess I wasn't there very long. But Philipp Hesse is a central midfielder, 20-year-old German wonderkid who was, or I guess still is, at Leipzig. I'm surprised we've been able to drag him away from Leipzig, who Champions League finalists. I don't know if he may have even played in the Champions League final. 26 appearances for them last season, having come through their youth team, had a loan out in the second division the year before, 26 games for them last year. And he looks like he's going to be a bit special. 2.5-star current ability, 5-star potential. We're having to pay an absolute ton of money for him. As a 20-year-old who's only started 9 games, he's costing us £51 million. 16 of that is up front. But to me, this is exactly the kind of player the board have charged me with signing. Young, under 21-year-old German wonderkids. So he is a legitimate German wonderkid. I mean, that's exactly the kind of player we're supposed to sign. Job done. Do 5 more of them. Summer is complete and we still have 100 million left to spend. So 1st of July has come round, which means transfer window is open. So Philipp Hesse has arrived and he has genuine 5-star potential, which is nice. The fans think I've overpaid for him a little bit. I mean, yeah, probably have. But you wanted German wonderkids. Oh, I mean, what am I supposed to do? Talking of expectations, the board have snuck an extra transfer expectation in, which feels like it contradicts the others a little bit. So they want German players under the age of 21, but they also want high reputation players. They're very disappointed with the finances involved to sign him. Well, what do you want from me? Look, he's come in with a boost. He's going to be great, but I can't do high reputation German under 21s because he's one of the best German. He's a 20-year-old German wonderkid I paid a lot of money for off of the team that was just in the Champions League final. He is the closest there is in the universe to a high reputation under 21 German player. And everyone's disappointed that I've signed him. We now need to get busy with some actual transfers. The season starts in 5 weeks. We've signed 1 player who's not going to be going into the first team. We still don't have a goalkeeper. The transfer window is open. The serious business starts now. Well, I figured we can't hit every piece of criteria on every player we've signed, so we'll be selective. Max John is German, so he hits that criteria. He's 26, so he doesn't hit that criteria. He is a 4.5-star quality player. I think that makes him high profile. I don't know if he actually is considered a high profile player. He should be at 4.5 stars. He's our new right back, and he's going to be great. Much better than anyone else we had at right back. £61 million, of which we've only paid about 11 million of it up front. I mean, I actually think I might not spend all the transfer budget this summer because I'm being very frugal about how I do it with regard to how much we're spending up front. We're being tight, so we've spent a lot of money already and we've barely scratched the surface of that, and our balance is going up. So I don't expect the transfer balance to hit 0 at any point. We're just going to bring in the players that we need, and then when we're done, I need to hope that I have the discipline to be done. But Max John is another player who is right up there as one of the best players in the squad, with Stewart, who we looked at yesterday, with Drury, with Gustavo. These are the boys. These are the top-level boys, and Max John is definitely at that kind of level. I'm struggling a little bit more with signing a goalkeeper. I did try and get Thomas Silva. Thomas Silva did discuss terms with us. He didn't just ignore us the way Koulibaly did. The only problem is he wanted £375,000 a week. My board, despite having all this money, won't let me go above £200,000 a week for a salary for a player. So we went back and forth with appearance fees and yearly wage rises, and I threw everything at him that I could, and ultimately the deal fell through. He just wouldn't agree terms. So we're trying to repeat what we did with Silva with this guy, Gonçalo Garrizo. I just pronounce Z's in Portuguese. No idea. He's 18 years old, so even younger than Silva was, but another young Portuguese goalkeeper. The difference being he's never played a game for anybody, and he's going to cost us roughly what we paid for Silva. I don't know if this guy's going to come in and be ready to start for us. I'm confident he'll come in and be better than what we've currently got, but the contract we've agreed with him is as a backup goalkeeper, so we're kind of leaving the door open for him to be the backup and bring someone in over the top if we find somebody. But I am really struggling when it comes to identifying a goalkeeper who meets the criteria that we've got. That's not crazy money. Silva we were going to be paying 122 million for Silva, which is ridiculous. But I don't want to pay that kind of money for a 31-year-old who's apparently at Norwich. Oh no, he's wanted by Norwich. Hoyenhal might be available. Likewise, I mean, there are goalkeepers. Look how expensive all these 4-star goalkeepers are. You're looking at spending most of our budget on a goalkeeper. Now, I realise we need a goalkeeper, but I don't think we need that goalkeeper that badly. We might just go with the kid. We'll see how this pans out. So, Garizo is in, the young goalkeeper, 2-star current ability, 5-star potential. He is actually, by star rating, the best goalkeeper at the club. I can't imagine he will become the start of the season, but at 18, he's going to become homegrown at club, which is going to be a big thing. And clearly, transfer value-wise, the world thinks it's a good piece of business. I'm starting to realise why Dortmund have declined in recent years, though. It's all about selling all of these homegrown players. It was homegrown players that got me thinking. Marina, for example, who we had at Real Madrid, he's a homegrown Dortmund player. That's who we signed him from. Brendan Rodgers wasn't using him. We took him to Real Madrid and he won the Champions League. I've just made an offer for him, trying to cash in his release clause at 79 million. And he's another one who won't discuss terms with us because he wants to play in the Champions League. One we are looking to go for, though, Eranua left Norwich. This is why we couldn't find him at Norwich when we played them, because he left to go to Bayern Munich, who are now not playing him. He's another one who's homegrown at Dortmund. That's where I signed him from. He's a natural left back and centre back, as we know. We used him as a left back at Norwich. We don't actually really need a left back here, but we could certainly do with a centre back. Whether or not he ends up, I mean, he'll probably play a little bit of both. We never really used him as a centre back, but we know he's lightning quick as a centre back or as a left back. He could be very useful for us at left back. We've got Locatelli, who is our left back at the moment, who can't really play anywhere else, but we need a centre back. We've got Stewart, and once you get past Stewart, all we've really got is this old guy who we don't really want to have to rely on. And then the youngster who's going to be awesome, which, yeah, it's great. He'll get game time, but we don't want to play him week in, week out, especially if we're going to have an 18-year-old goalkeeper. So Eranua could find a spot at centre-back for us if we can get him off of Dortmund. We've made an offer of 42 million. Like I say, they're not really using him. So if we can get him in, he's still only 26. He's German and he's homegrown at club. And I would say, as a player who's been deep in the Champions League for the last 5 or 6 years in a row, definition of high-profile player as well. So still meeting criteria. We've got ourselves another German wonderkid, a wonderkid striker called Kylian. This can't go wrong. Kylian Benedet, 2.5-star current ability, 5-star potential, German, 20 years old, can play on the right wing, can play centre forward. Really, we're probably going to use him on this right-hand side because we've got a very good striker as it is. But we've brought him in from Bayern Munich. I would say this is a bargain. He's coming from Bayern, £28 million for a proper wonderkid. It shows how good Bayern are that he's nowhere near their first team. Was playing down in the 3rd division for their B team last year, where he had a very good season. In fact, every season he's had down there has been very good. He's never actually played for Bayern's first team. So I'm saying it's a bargain. £28 million for a player who's never played in the top division. But you know what? He's a German wonderkid. That's what we were told to get. That's what we're going to do. If we have to bring in a few like that to keep the board happy, to allow us to bring in some of the older ones as well, then I'm happy with that. They're disappointed with the finances in a lot of these deals. Don't give me a £300 million budget then. I'm Kev, you idiots. Oh, my word. Oh, it's like they've not been paying attention. But that's another body through the door. We like bodies through the door. Why aren't you a goalkeeper? And he's a very good left. Oh, you like a left back, but 22, Dutch, playing for Groningen, so not high profile. He doesn't meet any of the criteria. We have a first choice goalkeeper, Diego Enrique, meets none of the rules. He's high profile. He's 29-year-old Brazilian, who the fans are pleased to sign a player of such stature. So I guess he counts as a high reputation player. So we've got a little bit there. He's much better than any other goalkeeper we had at the club. Garizo, who's just come in, will still end up better than him long term. I like the fact they both speak Portuguese as their main language, so he can mentor the youngster. He's never played in a major European league at 29 years old, so I don't know if he's going to be a long-term answer for us, but ultimately he doesn't really need to be a long-term answer. He just needs to be an improvement on what we had at the moment, which he absolutely is. So the team is starting to take shape. We're still a little bit weak in central midfield, central defence. There's certainly players we could do with adding in. I think even in its current form, this team would be comfortably good enough to qualify for the Champions League this year, which is all we actually have to do. In fact, the board are only looking for us to qualify for the Europa League, and we still have £200 million to spend. I am enjoying this transfer window a lot. Eronua is back at Borussia Dortmund after he was unceremoniously dragged away all those years ago by that monster from Norfolk. He reunites with us. He joins back up with the manager that made him everything that he is today, and he's part of the series again, which is lovely. He's coming in as kind of left back, kind of centre back, will probably play both. Not really first choice in either, but also not really backup in either. Just an extra player to have around. And unbelievably, we've brought him back for less than Dortmund sold him for 6 years ago. Brendan Rodgers, we might have criticised him a little bit, but it seems like he's done a decent piece of business there. He's sold a player who wasn't getting in his team for a load of money, watched him go on and become a star, let Dortmund, I mean, to be honest, I don't know how Dortmund got him so cheap, because Dortmund have made a profit as well. Ultimately, Pep Guardiola at Norwich was just messed up here. This guy is too good to be sold for the price he was sold for, and he's as good as any player that we've got in our defence, apart from Stewart, really, which is extra nice to have with bells on. So that's one defender in. We're trying to bring another defender in as well, which is Paolo Postorino, who's an Italian international at Juventus that we've got an offer in for at the moment at £42 million. Can't beat an Italian defender. He's an Italian international, despite not being a regular starter for Juventus. He has got 13 caps for Italy at 22 years old. So I figure this guy's got a bit of a future. He can come in and be another one competing for those starting spots at centre-back. And then I think our defence is probably finished because we'll have Locatelli and Ua at left-back. We'll have John and Muller at right-back. We'll then have Stewart, Mosquera, Bardet and Nugai coming in to play centre-back. So I think that's the defence done. With Henrique in and the new goalkeeper, this is done, and we can probably bin off one of these terrible goalkeepers that were brought in last year. I mean, this guy, at least he's a German youngster. This guy is going on the transfer list. He thinks he's first choice goalkeeper at £3,500 a week. What was Brendan thinking? This guy's going on the transfer list. That's horrific. Central midfield. I think Drury probably is going to be playing here behind Gustavo, although we have got Boning as well, who has an argument for being in one of those roles. He'll probably play on the right with Ballo on the left. So that's a nice starting front four. And then we've got quite a few players who are around the fringes. We might actually need to move some players on from these attacking positions. We've got quite a lot of players who can play there. And then central midfield, and this is the area I've not really looked at too much yet, because it seems like it's pretty much fine. Idoloff can start. Mello is definitely good enough to still start in there. Cloves is Brazilian, so he automatically gets to start, or at least be around the squad. We've got Riviere, who is a young French player. And then we've got the youngster that we've just brought in as well, Hesse. So again, there's probably players here that we maybe would be looking. I mean, this guy, he's probably done. Daniel Rios. Can't imagine this guy's ever going to get anywhere near our team. So he's probably someone that we're going to be looking to move on. But we're going to finish. We'll bring this last defender in, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do. But I think we're close to finished, which is bonkers, really, when you look at how much money we've got left. But I think anything we do beyond this is going to be changes that aren't that necessary. We can save a whole bunch of money for January and then roll a whole load over into next season and do this project a little bit more sensibly, because we don't need to sign 15 first-team players in one window. As much as it's only the 15th of July and it's going to be very hard for me to stop myself Hello, what's this? A wonderkid? Oh, I thought he was going to be German. He's not. He's a Slovak wonderkid at a German club who he's going to go out on loan. That's less appealing. If he was a German wonderkid, any German wonderkid we see, we're going to sign, because I'm very conscious of the criteria we've got on here. They are delighted with the number of German players we've signed. That's good. How many German players have we actually signed? So Erenua, I think he's German. So 2, 3, 4. So we've signed 4 German players out of 6 signings. So I guess that is a pretty good ratio. The rest of it, they're not ready to judge us on just yet. So perhaps we don't have to focus on German players as much for the time being, but focus on high reputation under 21-year-olds. Oh my word, it's so complicated. Who is this guy? Nicholas Hubert. Oh, he's the young goalkeeper. Yeah, we absolutely don't need him. If he's being paid 14 grand a week, yes, he can go out on loan. Sione's gone to Juventus. I need to keep reminding myself that I need to do these stupid press conference things. The fact that Rodrigo Garza's at the club, notice I didn't mention him at all in what I was just talking about. So I think he's probably someone who we probably need to move on. Andre Luis is another example of that. He still is a Brazilian striker. He's just not with us anymore. He's going to Arsenal. 3-star current ability, 4-star potential. He's fine, but he's not really playing. He wanted me to guarantee him more game time. Looking at the depth we've got in the squad, I wasn't in a position to guarantee him more game time. He can go to Arsenal for 25 million. I think this is the kind of player we need to be trimming out of the squad. There's a lot of average players in this team. And yeah, Garza is another example of a very average player, 25 years old. We know from Norwich that he wasn't good enough. The fact that Bayern, Juventus and Real Madrid are all in for him is very interesting. Madrid are having a fire sale, by the way. Real Madrid is a mess now that I've moved on. So I don't expect them to be retaining the Champions League. It's almost as if there's a whole load of transfer debt there and they're trying to fix that problem, which is weird because Norwich never really did that. Norwich stayed competitive, and I guess Real Madrid, just by their size, will stay competitive. But they've already sold Florentino, Koulibaly, Adeyemi's obviously left, Jan has gone as well. And there are other I keep seeing players being offered, like offers being accepted for Real Madrid players. So I think there's more likely to be leaving, which is a little bit of a shame to see a team that I put together and won the Champions League with, asterisk, being disassembled the way it is. But it's fine. We're not sad about it. Our first team squad at the moment, 25 people. We definitely do need to trim a few of these out. I mean, the goalkeepers are rubbish. Who the hell is this guy? Mikola Vaslenko. I mean, yeah, you ain't playing, son. You haven't been playing. You're done. Get out of here. You can leave. Mosquera we're going to keep because I think he's handy to have around. The reason I'm binning off as many strikers as I am is because I want to bring a striker in. Daniel Rios, we just looked at him and decided he was never going to play, didn't we? So he can go. Rodrigo Garza. If he was still 21, we keep him around, but I don't think we transfer list him because of all the clubs that are in for him. I think we wait for an offer and see what happens. And then Riviere, I guess we keep around because he's young as well. And that'll do for now. We don't need to sell loads. We don't want to disrupt the squad too much. I'm very happy with how this transfer window's going. Oh, Paulo Postorino is here and not quite as good as I thought he was going to be. Although the fans are happy to have signed such a good player. So that's good. 2.5-star current ability. 4-star potential is positive as well. He's just obviously not as good as what we've already got. So he's coming in to be another rotation option, which is fine. We needed strength in depth as much as we needed starters. You can't sign 3 new defenders and expect them all to go straight into the first team and start when you've already got very good defenders knocking around. So we have some decent strength in depth in there now, which is good. You've got Postorino and Bardet both competing with Mosquera for when he eventually winds down his career. Might be this year, whenever it is. We've got 2 players who are both going to be fighting it out to be his replacement, which has got to be a good thing. We've got the reserve. We've got the young reserve at right back. We've got the competition for places at left back. We've been through this already. The squad is just about there. The only thing I think we need is to get rid of Vaslenko and Garza and get a real top-level backup striker. We can then have Killian to be our backup for a couple of different positions, like a third option. If we could get another real world-class level striker, because the worry I've got at the moment is if this guy picks up an injury, we don't have anyone who's going to replace what he offers us. So I don't want Gaza starting. I don't want anyone else rubbish starting, really. So it's a weird situation because we could just go out and buy Sergio Delgado now. We've got the money to be able to do it, but I don't know that that's necessarily the right thing to go and do because he wouldn't be starting. We don't need someone already fully established like that. What we need is the 20, 21-year-old version of him who can come in and push that guy for a starting spot for maybe less than that price, because that price is absurd. It's quite interesting who the game considers the 4 best strikers. This is based on everyone that we've scouted since we've been here at Dortmund. The 4 A+ strikers: Sergio Delgado, Maury Koulibaly, Damien, and Federico Sioni. So all players we've got previous with. Sioni's too old. Koulibaly's obviously just gone to City. Damien, I assume, is going to be a similar situation to everyone else we've tried to get from Real Madrid and won't want to come to us because we're not in the Champions League. Part of me wonders, I mean, is it insanity to go and spend the rest of the budget on Sergio Delgado? Wouldn't be interested in moving to Borussia Dortmund under any circumstances. We'll see about that. We'll see about, I mean, wow. Wow. Norwich have just flat out turned down the biggest transfer in the history of the world. Fair play to them. They obviously don't need the money. I guess we look a little bit further down the list. Frustratingly, this guy's just gone to Leipzig, who probably would have been exactly what I'm looking at, really. A nice little backup who can play anywhere across the front three and wouldn't have cost the earth. He would have been perfect, but we weren't quick enough to get to him. But there's a few players knocking around. I mean, who's this guy? 26-year-old Ruben, wanted by Juventus and Real Madrid. He's at Brighton. He looks like he's a very, very good footballer. Very quick. Better than Gustavo, apparently. Been rattling the goals in the Premier League. Has never played for Spain. But then I guess they've got Damien. They've got Delgado. But maybe he's the guy, because Brighton, presumably, are not a Champions League club. Unless something crazy has happened in the couple of years since I left England. Oh, that's not how you go back in time. How do you go back in time? Brighton. So Brighton finished 15th and he's still rattled in the goals. He might be the man. Unless he's stupid expensive. We might be going after Ruben. Because then we're going to have 2 very, very, very good strikers. Oh, now this is a transfer, boys and girls. Ruben is in. 4-star current ability, 4.5-star potential. His winning presence can only be positive. Brighton finished 15th in the Premier League last year. But we have 2 real top-tier strikers now. I am very pleased. I'm also pretty pleased because Boning, our star player, we just had an offer from Bayern Munich for 60-something million pounds. He wanted to go, and we managed to persuade him to stay just by telling him that we'd qualify for the Champions League this year. So if we don't qualify for the Champions League this year, we're going to have to sell him next summer. But we should be able to keep hold of him this summer, which is a good thing. We're keeping our best players, adding more really good players to the squad as well. Looking at the way the squad breakdown is starting to assemble itself, we could possibly do with another left winger over here. Although we have got Tom Schmidt, who is another youngster who can play on either side, who probably would argue he should be up there. Interesting to see Aranua as a right winger. I don't remember him ever playing there before. Apparently he can play on the right wing, which is interesting. Gaza is still keeping his squad spot by virtue of being sort of good at a lot of things and probably quite useful to have around. Vasilenko is leaving because we don't need him. And we're also trying to bring in another midfield player, Loris Stuberluk. I don't know how to say the little umlaut. Use Stuberluk, probably. Or I don't remember. I did GCSE German. No idea. But we're trying to bring this guy in as well because he looks ace. I mean, do you need any more information? He's never German and he looks great. If we get him in, we really, really, really are done at that point with money to spare, unless we're able to do something spectacular. We did try and sign Colin Schultz from Norwich because I thought that would be... We're here for revenge on Schalke. winning the Champions League with Colin Schultz in our team would have been perfect, and would have also, now he can play on the left wing, would have also been, I mean, he would have started on the left wing. Ballo would have had to have dropped down the pecking order a little bit, and Schultz, we'd have had a front four of Gustavo, Schultz, Drury and Boning, and that would be just ridiculous, with Ruben as a backup player and Ballo as backup players. Oh, that would have been good, but alas, he didn't want to join us because we're not in the Champions League. I'm fed up of hearing it. We're going to be in it next year. Show a little bit of ambition. Lower your standards and show some ambition. And he has joined us, Loris Stubaluk, 3-star current ability, 3.5-star potential. So not spectacular, but very solid as a central midfield player. And it's just filling out the squad now with these players that we needed, adding in the Germans, adding in the younger players with a little bit of potential, whilst also still trying to get that mix of top-level players as well. And it looks like every other... We might have to go out and get a couple of under-21s, because they're delighted with the Germans, delighted we've not signed any older, delighted with the high reputation. I guess, to finish things off with our final 100 million or so, we could go and sign a handful of under-21s. It doesn't matter if they're German, because we've already signed so many German players. So let's finish off our pleasing the board by doing everyone's favourite thing on Football Manager all together now. We're going wonderkid shopping. Let's bring in a couple of youngsters. We'll bring in as many as it takes to take that grumpiness away. Turn that frown upside down with a wonderkid. Right, we have one under-21 player in. Engin Demir is a 21-year-old Turkish right-back or defensive midfielder or central midfielder. We've spent £29 million on him from Hertha, where he's not really played. He's come in and had a huge boost of value and has actually got mega potential. Not classed as a wonderkid, much to my sadness. I think he's also got German as a second nationality. He does, so we'll probably also count as... I don't know. Oh, I've just pressed the wrong button. I assume he also counts as German, which is going to be a help as well. Get him registered. Is that enough to please the board? No, they're still very disappointed. Well, luckily, we've got another one, Billy Eaton, that we're trying to bring in as well. He's going to come in from Sunderland as a young striker, loads of potential. We're loaning him straight back out to Sunderland because I don't imagine that we're going to be using him. I mean, they've not particularly used him. He only started 7 games for them last year. But we've just spent a lot of money on him, 13.5 million. His value has shot up massively as well. And he can go back out and play for Sunderland in the Championship and hopefully learn German while he's there, although I'm not quite sure how effective learning German whilst living in Sunderland is. Is that enough to please the board? No. Well, luckily, we've got another one on the go as well. We're also, I hope these guys count as under 21. They're sign players under the age of 21. Signing all these 21-year-olds, there's a chance I've just noticed what I'm doing. They're they could play for the under 21s. That's my definition of it. I'm probably wrong there, aren't I? It'll be fine. So another 21-year-old in, Omar Awad, who is an Egyptian, already 45 caps for Egypt, central midfield player, who was previously at Porto. Let's welcome him in as well, see if that pleased the board. Otherwise, I guess, I mean, we've still got money to throw. It's no bad thing bringing in loads of young players. None of these are going to get in the team now. Wrong button. Okay, so we're now down to just disappointed. So the 21-year-olds are counting. We just haven't signed enough of them yet. But we do still have £100 million. Expect another 3 or 4 21 and under players to arrive. Back to the shopping list. Right, next batch of kids are in. Hopefully this should be enough to please the board now. Thomas Hruska is a Czech striker who comes in from Sparta Prague for £8 million. We've immediately loaned him straight back out again. He actually doesn't have 5-star potential, which is a little bit of a problem. I don't know why I keep trying to register players who aren't actually going to be here, but you never know. We might be able to sell him on for a profit if he has a good season playing for them. We signed a Silva, not the Silva we wanted. It's not Thomas Silva from Real Madrid, unfortunately. Gabriel Silva is a centre-back from Vitória in Portugal. £2 million. We've immediately loaned him straight back out. He's also 21 years old. Get him learning German as well. Also not 5-star potential. I'm losing my touch with these. Oh, I really am. Braima Gomez is another Portuguese player, right winger. Got him from Sporting, 4.4 million, sent him back on loan for the season. And now I'm a little bit worried about making that one permanent. They are still looking for under 21s, though, so I'm going to have to. And drag another one through the door. So Morten Andersen is a 20-year-old striker who we've not actually sent back out on loan. He's coming from Bayer Leverkusen for £10 million. He's not really the kind of striker I anticipate using in a 4-2-3-1. If we ever go back to the diamond, he'll be handy. 2 caps for Denmark already. We've literally just brought him in because he's under 21 years old, and there might be some resale value on him in the future. Club Vision. What have I got to do? How many more? About half of the players we've signed now must be under 21. This is bonkers. We've signed another wonderkid, Lukman Balogun, 20 years old, comes in from Bayern Munich, can play anywhere up the left-hand side. He's got 2-star current ability, 4-star potential, and the board still aren't happy. I think at this point, we're just going to stop worrying about that because we're wasting money, and I don't like wasting money. As much as some of you will probably argue with that based on some of my previous transfers. I think we're about done. The one thing I would quite like is maybe another centre-back. Just a centre-back as good as the rest of the defence would be nice. But if we don't find the guy, we don't find the guy. We have another centre-back in. Diego Norberto can play centre-back, can play left-back, can play right-wing, interestingly enough. He's a Brazilian international centre-back who completes the set, really, that we needed at the back. We've got some real good quality defenders back there now, and I think we're about done. Need another striker? We've just sold Rodrigo Garza. As you can see, I'm tempted to bring in another striker off the back of it. We've got an offer in at the moment because we have sold Garza to Bayern Munich for £33 million, which seems like a little bit of a steal. So he's gone to Bayern Munich. We also sold Vasilenko, who's another striker. We've sold £117 million worth of players. It's not like it's been all buy all summer. I am wondering if we bring in another striker just in case. At the moment, I fully intend to play with wingers. But all the success in this save has come with the diamond. And if we end up switching to the diamond, I guess Boning can go up front. Ballo can potentially... Probably going to bring that striker in. You know I'm bringing him in. As soon as I made the offer, I'd made up my mind. Right, I'm going to play this cup game off camera because no one needs to see us play Bautzen. And then we'll be back to finish off the transfer window. A nice little 12-0 win. Drury with a hat-trick. Ruben came off the bench and grabbed himself a goal. Everything looked nice. Germany is easy. This is not how I remember it from my time at Schalke. No, Boning is not going to Bayern Munich. What a ridiculous pile of nonsense that is. I mean, what a performance from Drury. Some of you might have doubted, is he actually better than Koulibaly? I mean, I know he was basically playing against a non-league team, but still, what a performance. Right, we're just going to wrap up the signing of that striker. And then I think I know I've said we're done about 8 times in this video now. I genuinely think we are done. I've been recording this for about 4 hours. I could do with stopping. This has been one of the longest video recording sessions I've had in a long time, and I'm losing my voice. That has to be it. Who is Dornbush? Oh, he's the guy we're trying to sign. Okay, what? Oh, that's how tired I am off the back of this. That's when you know I've been recording too long. I thought that was an incoming offer. It's them accepting the offer for me to sign him. I'm not even going to negotiate. Just gimme. That'll do nicely. And we'll add him in as an extra little player in the squad. And then we really are done. So much. I'm so confident we're done. I'm just going to stop the video here. You just know he's coming in. Know he's rarely going to play. He's going to be the third choice striker in a 1-striker system. He is there purely for emergencies only. We have every eventuality covered in this squad now. I think we should be in a very strong position I think we should win the Europa League this year. We should definitely be qualifying for the Champions League. The media think we're good for a 3rd place finish. We started pre-season 4th favourites, so we've moved past Hertha Berlin. Obviously, Leipzig are very good and beat Bayern last year, and Bayern have been dominant for a long, long time. But this is, I mean, I wouldn't be alarmed. I would not be alarmed if we won the Bundesliga this year. But that's not the goal. The goal is win the Europa League, qualify for the Champions League, and continue building on this from here, because there's still going to be loads of money floating around this club for a little while to come yet. And that is lots of fun. Yeah. Are you watching down the road? Exactly. If you have enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.